Hi everybody, Mark Ocarbajo here from businesscreditblogger.com. Today's presentation, we're going to talk about how to get unsecured personal lines of credit. And what I'm excited about this particular video is we're going to go over how it benefits you to get a personal line of credit as opposed to when it's best to get a business line of credit. And I'm not talking about credit cards or anything like that. This particular video is actually on getting an actual bank line of credit issued in your individual name. So let's get started. First and foremost, we're going to talk about what is a personal line of credit. A personal line of credit, it's a revolving credit product issued to you by a bank. And this allows you to draw the funds the amount of credit they extend to you, and you can borrow them against this line whenever you need it. So it's not a loan, it's an actual line of credit. It operates a lot like a credit card, but the difference is in how you actually access the funds to your line of credit. Whereas with the credit card, you actually have a piece of plastic. You can use it for purchases, but when you have an individual bank line of credit, then you have the ability to draw on the line of credit from either via the phone, wire transfer. You can go online and have the funds deposited in a different account if you need. Or you can have check writing privileges. You could stroke a check and draw on your line of credit that way. Now, the beauty of it is you can repay your balance in full anytime with no penalties, or you could pay a minimum monthly payment. Now, what's different between a bank line of credit, a personal line of credit, and a credit card is with the credit card, you're going to pay anywhere from 1 to 2%, a minimum monthly payment on your outstanding balance. Whereas with a bank line of credit, your minimum monthly payment will range anywhere from 2 to 5%. So it's a little bit higher than a credit card. But you can borrow against your line of credit over and over again. So based on how much you have available on your credit limit that the bank issued you, you can access your line of credit through a variety of methods like I just talked about, phone, online, or access checks. The major difference between an individual bank line of credit, a personal line of credit, is that you could draw large lump sums of cash. So that's the major difference between that and an actual credit card. With a personal line of credit, you don't have to worry about cash advance fees like a credit card has. So this is really popular if obviously you're in the real estate investing. You want to have large amounts of cash for down payments on properties or rehabs. That's where a personal line of credit will really benefit you. If you're a business owner, there's also times when they'll need large amounts of cash to pay contractors, or maybe you don't want to use a credit card. You may need large sums of cash to make payroll, etc. So, and you'll see on the bottom of this particular presentation, there's more information on the bank lines of credit by going to businesscreditbuilders.org/bank-lines-of-credit. So at any time you can get more information on how actually to apply for personal lines of credit. So let's talk about the benefits. First is you have the flexibility to draw on the funds anytime you need it when you have a line of credit. You could draw cash on 100% of the limit if you want, whereas with credit cards, the majority of credit cards allow you to pull cash advances up to usually 50%. Some cards are a little higher than that, but with a bank line of credit, you can pull 100% of your limit in cash. And there's no cash advance fees you need to worry about, no balance transfer strategy or anything like that. And you can pay the balance in full, or you can make a minimum monthly payment. You can get access to cash and credit whenever you need it. Establishes multiple banking relationships. Now, what's unique about that is with our particular program, we set you up with about 3 to 4 bank lines of credit as an individual. So rather than just getting one line of credit at the bank, you'll get 3 to 4. Now, with the banks out there that we work with, over 400 banks and credit unions in our network, each bank maximum will issue up to a $50,000 line of credit. Typically, it's $30,000 to $40,000 per line of credit per individual. So you'll see that's why our credit limits go up to almost $200,000. Now, this allows you to get multiple banking relationships, which is good. You want banks to compete for your business. You have the opportunity for potential credit limit increases. And as you build that relationship with these banks, the banks will offer you additional credit products. You have additional opportunities. And there's no restrictions on how you use your money. Certain loans have a restriction on how you use your money. As an individual bank line of credit, you can use it for whatever you need. Now, as far as the credit limits with our program, they go to $25,000 to $300,000 in combined credit limits. We set you up with about 3 to 6 bank lines of credit. 6 is maximum. Each bank, like I talked about, issues up to $50,000. The interest rates are going to be around the 7 to 12% range. Now, the one thing I want to clear up real quick is you may ask, well, is there a 0% intro APR period? That only applies to credit cards. It doesn't apply to bank lines of credit. So there's no type of offers of 0% on purchases. You're only going to get that with credit cards. With the bank line of credit, it's a bank line of credit issued by the bank, and your annual interest rate is going to be a 7 to 12% range. Now, some of you may want lower rates than that. In order to get a lower rate, like a 3 or 4% range, you're most likely going to need to secure that line of credit. And that's where you hear a lot about people who want to get a bank line of credit for real estate investing, and they may have a 3 or 4% rate. The way they're getting that is it's a HELOC. It's an equity line of credit on their investment properties. It's not an unsecured line of credit. They're tying it to collateral, which is properties. So that's how you're going to get those really low rates, because there's less risk to the bank. They have collateral. They have the properties being pledged as a collateral to back up the line of credit. What we're talking about here is completely unsecured bank lines of credit. You don't have to put up any collateral. Now, like I said, your minimum monthly payments is about 2.5 to 5%, no collateral. Now, how do you qualify? You need at least a 680 FICO score. Now, this particular types of lines of credit are based on two major things. It's the strength of your personal credit, because it's an individual bank line of credit. It's issued to you as an individual. Number two is your income. You have to be able to verify and prove your income. So minimum, you have to be making $2,000 a month in gross income. If you're a W-2 employee, that's great, because it's very simple for you to document your income. You can provide W-2 statements, your past 2 weeks of pay stubs, but that's what you need to prove income. If you're self-employed, it gets a little bit more difficult, because you have to prove through tax returns. And your tax returns as a business owner, business lines of credit are a lot more complicated, because, and we do business bank lines of credit, but you have to be able to show that the business is generating $2,000 a month in net income, not gross income, net income, which many times, if your tax returns don't show that it's generating $24,000 plus a year net income, and let's say your business has a loss every year, then the banks, it won't warrant the banks to issue your business a bank line of credit. That's where people get really confused, because they have a lot of revenue coming to their business, but they have lots of expenses. So you have to show net income, because if you're going to get a line of credit, your business has to be able to show that it can pay the payments on that line of credit if it gets into debt using the line of credit. So like I said, we have to be able to document income in this program. This is a document program, but it's not a ton of documents. All you need to do is prove income. You don't have to provide a lot of other things like P&L statements, etc., because this is an individual line of credit, not a business line of credit. No excessive inquiries. Now, why is a personal line of credit beneficial to you? Why should you get one? Of course, you may have some credit cards, you may have a student loan, etc., but a personal line of credit allows you to diversify the strength of your personal credit. It gives you access, like they said, to lump sums of cash. And many times, an individual line of credit is a lot easier to get than an actual business bank line of credit. Now, I'm not talking about business credit cards. I'm talking about actual line of credit. So if you start a new business or purchase a business, it's a great way to use personal lines of credit to purchase a business. You could acquire new equipment or supplies for your company. I just want to also talk about real quick that with the business line of credit, actual bank line of credit for the business, banks like to see you 2 or more years in business. So if you're like 1 year in business, or you're a startup, getting a bank line of credit for in the business's name is virtually very difficult. So that's where a personal line of credit is the best option for you. Now, if you want to add on to your current business location, you can invest in real estate. That's where this personal lines of credit are very beneficial. And you can see all these other benefits of getting a line of credit individually. You can invest in long-term future of your business, purchase raw materials, purchase inventory, etc., etc. Now, how do you pre-qualify? That's one thing that's really exciting about our program, because we're not going to pull your credit. It's not a hard pull to see if you qualify. So this saves you from getting a hard inquiry on your personal credit. Like most companies out there, or most banks out there, will want to check your credit, and you get an inquiry. You get declined, now you have a hard inquiry on your credit. What's unique about our program is we pre-qualify you by you supplying us your Tri-Merge credit report. That allows our underwriters to review your credit worthiness, your profile, your scores, the size of your credit limits, your history, your inquiries, etc. And during that review, our underwriter is able to determine, with all of our banks and credit unions and lenders in our network, which ones do you fit into their credit criteria to qualify for lines of credit. And we come up with what's called a funding projection, which is 90 to 95% accurate. So at the end of the day, when we do a pre-qualification review, within 24 to 48 hours after you submit your tri-merge report, you'll know how much bank lines of credit you can get. And that's the best part of it. And that's without getting any inquiries yet. Because when you decide to move forward with us, that's when, of course, the banks that we apply you to, the 4 to 5 banks, will actually do a hard pull on your credit. But that's the beauty of the program, is you know what you're getting, and you're going to get. And again, like we said, the funding projection we have is really 95% accurate. Now, once you obtain your tri-merge report, you'll see step number 2 is you download a report in PDF format. You're going to go to businessfundingengine.procredit.com. That's where you can get a tri-merge credit report. It costs $1 to obtain your tri-merge report. I do encourage you to stay involved in that service because they offer lots of benefits. You get access to all 3 reports, all 3 of your scores every single month. That's a great product. But that's how you'll get your tri-merge report. You can download it in PDF format, and then you're going to submit upload your tri-merge report at businesscreditbuilders.org/pre-qualification. Now, once you submit and upload, you'll get an email confirmation, and in 24 to 48 hours, we're going to contact you via phone and go over the funding projections. We're going to ask you some questions about your business or what you're looking to do, because you may qualify for other different funding vehicles during our review that are going to be available to you. So other than just getting bank lines of credit, we may even also offer you additional products like business credit cards or a bank loan, etc. So that's the beauty of it. You're going to know what type of funding vehicles are available to you. The funding process. Once we do the review with you, we go over your projections, and you want to move forward, then we send you out actually an agreement to move forward. And the funding process takes about 24 to 48 hours. So we assign you your own processor who's going to work with you. They communicate with the banks. They submit the apps on your behalf to the banks. And you'll start receiving your bank lines of credit over the course of 14 to 20 days. So that's our process of you getting personal lines of credit. For more information, free information on business credit and personal funding, check out businesscreditblogger.com. With that, make it a great day. We'll talk to you real soon.